Strauss75N here, and we're ready to go ahead and start fabric topping Unfcknblvbl's Telecaster. But there is one thing that we need to do before we can start gluing down our fabric, and I'll show you in a second here. Right, so what I want to address here before we start putting down the fabric is because of the graphic, we're going without the pickguard. And so we have all these pickguard holes in it. And I wish I had done this on my Telecaster, but I didn't think to do it before I did it. Make this nice and smooth, because once we glue down the fabric will sink into that little hole once we start applying the polyurethane. And so you'll have this little divot in your finish that no matter how much you wet sand, you're not going to really get it out. Not without taking really large parts of your finish off. And so we're going to go ahead and we're going to glue in our toothpicks and cut them off and then sand them down flat so that we don't have any of those holes. Go ahead and give some glue. We're going to glue, and we're going to stick a toothpick in the hole. And I'll do this with all of them. And I'll come back and but yeah, just glue off. All right, and so we got it, and just like that, just glue off. Okay, so here we have it. We have our holes filled in and sanded clean. And so now we're ready to go ahead and lay out this fabric. And unfortunately for you, I'm turning it around so that I can have the view that I really need in order to get this done right. And so let me resituate everything here so I can get you the best view, and we'll come back. Okay, so let's get some glue down, and we can get to fabric topping Unbelievable's guitar. Kind of a pro tip, well, kind of a tip anyway. These foam rollers will suck up a lot of your glue. So what I do is I take mine and I get it wet first. So it's already wet, and so it won't absorb as much of it. You know, not soaking wet, but so it doesn't mess with the glue, but enough to where it won't soak up all your glue. So I'll get the roller wet and then I'll wring it out so it's damp. But the thing is, you want your glue to go down as smooth as possible. You don't want to be leaving some kind of a drip or bump in your glue that is going to mess up the consistency of your finish, because you'll end up chasing that out in a wet sand forever. So, you know, less is more. And then when I go add more on, more glue for a place, I'll put it on the roller rather than having some thick piece of glue going down on the body. Okay, so we've got our fabric, and we have gone with option 3, and that means that we're going to have this figure here. Okay. I think we've pretty much, let me get it pretty much where we wanted it. I'm sorry, I'm distracted here. We're going to couple things around. This is why I just put it down very gingerly, because I really don't want it to stick to the glue until I get it where I want it. This is pretty much option 3 as we talked about in the video. And a lot of people came back and they said really liked option 3 because it looked like this figure here was holding the pickup. But it was a little bit it might have been a little misleading for some people. The hand was always on the other side of the neck pickup, and the neck pickup was here. And so we have moved a little bit. So the important thing here was to get as much of this figure here and as much of this figure here on the guitar, and while making allowance for what was going to be on the bridge, neck pocket here, and pickup ring here, and of course control cavity, right? And so it still get as much interest. Okay, so on the back we're going with a version of we're going with an adaptation of version 4. We've got to change a couple things to make version 4 fit on the back because it's the flip. And so this is the way that the guitarist is going to be looking at it, right? From the about up here. So when they're looking at it from the back, that's the version of the view we're going to be looking at. And so really want to get this figure on it. I think it kind of really made the front of the other guitar before. I like this figure. This face doesn't really show up well. Yeah, actually this face doesn't really show up on my version, and so not in any prominent style. So we're going to move this around so that this face fits up on the guitar, up on the back of the guitar, so where it can be seen. All right, so we're going to go ahead and we are going to get some of our base poly onto Unbelievable's guitar here. And so we'll start with a roller and put down a coat just enough to really, right now, I'm not after the whole base coat. Really just want to go ahead and get a coat that's just hard enough to make it so that the fabric is stiff and able to trim it off with, trim away the excess so we can get working on the sides. So we'll pay a little bit more attention on all our areas here where we can where we're going to want to be able to trim away this stuff. Yeah, so there you have it. We've glued the fabric on the top and the back of Unbelievable's Telecaster. When it dries, we'll trim away that excess fabric, and then we'll be able to fabric top the sides of the guitar. And then from there, we can go ahead and wet sand that down and then get ready for the clear. So, as always, enjoy your guitar journey, and thank you for joining mine.